Dreams. Dreams is something that has moved me all my life. Dreams are something that tell me about the world consciousness through my subconscious, I would say. It clarifies things for me that I don't understand. Maybe even the world doesn't understand. And most of the times I've followed my dreams, whether they're conscious dreams or subconscious dreams, whether it is a problem that I was having in my life, I got an answer from dreams. And therefore, following a conscious dream, I decided to move from Bombay to Kashmir 2 years ago because the dream was to live in a place where it snowed and to be surrounded by the mountains. I went to Kashmir and started working there in a cafe as a cook. And over the course of 2 years, I was so moved by the way everything happened there. I mean, I remember my first 3 months having conversations with my staff, who was obviously all boys. They couldn't even hear me when I said pass a spoon because they were not used to listening to a woman. And definitely not used to listening to a woman and take orders from her. And over time, that changed from having a 16-year-old boy that had a PSA on him, which is Public Safety Act, which is boys that are generally stone pelters, who believed that it was gunha for a woman to work and who would actually look at me scornfully and not listen to a word I said and back answered everything. Over the course of 3-4 months to changing to telling me jokes and telling me that I'm the best person that he knows today, I saw a real change. For me, living in Bombay was easy. I could wear a bra and shorts here and walk on the station and not feel threatened even if the men looked horribly at me. But in Kashmir, I could be in a modest t-shirt and modest jeans and still be making a difference to my environment. It was an easy way to make a little bit of a difference because I had reached a point in life where I didn't want to really try too hard. I didn't want to be actually standing at the protest for the RA forest, but just sort of do it in a very simple way. And that environment just worked perfectly for me. But obviously, it being Kashmir, me being a woman and someone from the mainland, and because this is anonymous, I can say being the Indian over there, had its own perks, had actually a lot of perks. Someone that has grown up with an uncle that is in the army and somebody that was in love with an army officer and dated him for many, many years, to watching the army every day, standing 10 meters at every spot throughout the city, to watching the difference that my boys experienced when they walked home late at night and what they went through, to when I walked late at night on the streets. This one particular incident really stood out when me and my Kashmiri partner, business partner, I eventually invested in, became a part of the cafe. I own part of the cafe now. One winter night on a pretty late at night, around 11, we were going in a Maruti 800 through a tough neighborhood in Kashmir. And there was a check naka, and there was one officer here and one soldier here and one soldier here. And the soldier on the right could only see the Kashmiri man, and the soldier on the left could only see an Indian woman. And the soldier on the left said, "Go ahead." And the soldier on the right said, "Switch off the car." And we were both confused as to whom to follow and what to do. The guy on the right is smiling. The guy on the left is saying, "Why haven't you switched off the car yet? Get out of the car, show me the papers." And it is then that you really understand the small little biases that we don't take that seriously in our normal life. And to be questioned like that was harsh. And to see that dual C right there in one car was quite eye-opening. The next incident that really shook me to my core was I have a friend who also moved from Mumbai to Kashmir. She runs a school in Kashmir in Pulwama. She lives in Pulwama. And every week I promised her that I would do a global learning class for her kids. And I would once a week travel to Pulwama, do a class with her kids there and come back. And I did that for about 3 months till we covered a syllabus. But the second class that I went to Pulwama for, and I'm a fun-loving, happy person, and that's what I brought to the students there. I was not taking any, tough class. We would sit under trees and go to a farm, and that's how we did the class. On the second day, I was with 4th standard students, and the first question I asked them was, "So what would you all like to be when you grow up? What is the dream? What is your dream? What do you see?" And the first boy that I picked out of, there were many ones that had raised their hands, but I picked the one that had not raised his hand and kind of sat silently in the corner. And I asked him, I'm like, "What would you be when you grow up?" And he looked at me and he said, "I will be a militant." And I didn't know what the expression of my face should have been. I didn't understand what I should think. This little girl came up to me and said, his mother was raped last year and then disappeared. And there are more kids like this. This was, again, a 4th standard girl that was coming and telling me what her classmates thought of. I spent weeks with this thought in my head. And I thought of all the amazing army friends I have, and I thought of all the glory that comes with being an army man. And I thought of every role model we've ever had, of everyone that has let us down, that has broken our trust, that has, I didn't know how to think about this and how to digest it and how to be a proud Indian after this. I didn't know how to do that. And but a few weeks later, I had a dream. I had a dream of a little girl and her 2 neighbors. And I saw Kashmir as a beautiful young girl. And in this dream, I saw India as a much older man, and I saw Pakistan as a middle-aged man. And I saw that this girl, she had an uncle, and her uncle told India that, you should take care of my girl, make sure nothing happens to her. Make sure that she's an independent, fierce girl. And this girl grew up. This girl grew up to be a very, very independent girl that didn't believe in marriage. And India, who was a who was a very, very secular young man once upon a time, had turned out to be not so secular anymore. And this girl's uncle had told her that, you know, she deserved more than a fundamentally obsessed young boy, and, you know, this uncle would take, or this elder gentleman would take better care of you. But by the time India became a ripe old man, or 70 years old, he decided to create the havoc that he created on 5th August. And he said, you know what, your uncle had promised that you will marry me when you come of age. You were promised to me. You were always a part of me. And so married her against her will, against her consent. And in feminism, that's the first thing that we learn is consent. Having grown up in a family where even my father did not understand consent or understand that abuse is not his duty, India now believes that I can beat you up because you're my wife. And this is an internal matter, so what if I'm raping you? You're married to me. I spend so much money on you. I give you the clothes you wear and I put the roof on your head. And so you can go through this. You're supposed to. I have spent the money on you. And I shook up with this dream of utter violence, utter shuddering. And I thought to myself that if I can fight for my family, and if I can fight for the rights of my mother, then any type of abuse is not okay. Thank you.